Russian 2-on-1, if she turns her hand in, I could feed it right here, straight down, or if she turns it in, I could step out and do a completely different, technique. Okay, so I'm going to revisit how this technique can occur in the guard. Last time we looked at what if I'm attacking her and she can reach underneath. Yeah. Force my elbow up and there's the tap. But there's no reason that if I'm in her guard trying to escape that I can't find the same opportunity. See, she's trying to push and grab. If I get an overhand grip on her cross arm, just pinching at the palm, I can turn this up and have this control in her guard. And it's very hard for her to attempt a submission from here. Most likely she's going to do everything to escape. And now her guard's open, so I can begin my escape. So from a side control position, I like to use this technique. And how do I get there? It's actually pretty simple. Most people will frame and try to push away, or if I'm choking, she's going to start defending somehow, and the hand ends up, again, in this position. It's kind of a cross grip, or if she's framing, I can just reach up and grab. But as I make this connection, I don't need to de-weight myself, even though I could, but this would create a scramble. What I like to do is get this control and then continue the pressure. And I'm just going to pull my elbow back towards her hips. And as I pull, there's the tap. So very tight. I don't have to explode and try to get a different position. All I'm doing is just holding. So as she tries to escape and frames, go ahead and escape. Yeah, I just continue this hold because her movement, if she tries to spin out, anywhere she goes, it's pretty painful. It's so painful, it's joyful.
For you.
Okay, so I'm back with Amber. We're going to review the inward wrist turn that we looked at on the last video from the Aiki Jiu-jitsu, Aikido world. Again, we have the outward wrist turn, we have an inward wrist turn. The inward wrist turn is applicable for a lot of fancy throws and pins and techniques, and some of them are very viable even in our wrestling, jiu-jitsu, judo perspective. So let's take a look at a simple arm drag to get to a Russian 2-on-1 and how this technique could be applied in a few different ways. So if I simply start the arm drag, and maybe I'm initiating it by grabbing her wrist, pulling her in, I'm immediately trying to catch this shoulder-to-shoulder tie. But I don't like to hold on the forearm. I always like to slide down to the wrist because of the types of control. Now she, to get out of this, will most likely turn her wrist in and start pulling her bicep, right? Trying to squeeze to pull that out. As she turns, I can let it float, and now I'm on the back of her hand. So my thumb is on the inside, my hand is on the back. And this is the perfect setup for this particular technique. So let's look at how, as she turns it in, it actually fits into what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm feeding this to the other side, and now I have the technique. And we've seen this before where, spin around, throw, or whatnot. But I'm just going to do a very simple pin off of this. So let's look at it again. So as I reach and pull the arm drag, shoulder to shoulder control for this Russian 2-on-1, I slide to the wrist. She tries to fight it and turns in, I feed this to my hand. I'm not going to waste any time here by trying to do something fancy. I'm just going to pull her wrist to the ground and push her elbow. Now I know she's going to try to roll, so I block that. And now I have this wrist completely secured. Can you pull your arm out?
No.
Yeah. So I'm securing this with my knee. This is where it can get really painful. As she fights, I can grab this arm and feed into this same technique. This is horrible. This would be very easy to snap, break, tear, whatever I would choose to do. But I'm going to do a really odd, fancy pin out of this from old Aiki Jiu-jitsu. I'm simply going to stuff this wrist behind her other, and I know this is really tight on her shoulders, but I'm going to smash to get the control I want until she turns. And then I'm going to step on her other hand as she's kind of immobilized. Now, it's really easy on her shoulders because this could be horribly painful. So I'm going to look at a different setup for that same turning the wrist in scenario, right? This inward wrist turn from the same Russian 2-on-1 from the arm drag. But it's a very odd setup, and I haven't seen it in any other style other than in Aiki Jiu-jitsu. So arm drag, I pulled her into this Russian 2-on-1 with an overhand grip. As she turns in, I'm just going to step backwards and connect both of my hands, okay? So again, she's turning her wrist in, I step out, and I make this connection. Just by me making this connection, I have the power of two hands on her one, and as I start lifting, she's ready to tap. Obviously, I can take her down exactly the same as we just did before for this pin. If she rolls over, I don't have to have the double setup that I had before. I'm actually stepping on her hand. Can you get that out?
No.
She still can use her legs and do some normal ground jiu-jitsu here, but I have a lot of power to be, she's tapping with her fingers that are hidden behind her back. Anyway, very, very painful techniques, very painful setups for this wrist turn. Sorry, thanks. Hey, thanks again for taking a quick look at this little series on this inward wrist turn from the old Koryu world of Aiki Jiu-jitsu and how it is applicable on the Jiu-jitsu mat. Thanks. Okay, so I'm back. 1, 2, and 3. Jeez.
Now we're giggling.